Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, Miss Cornblatt.
I'm a Mrs., remember?
Well, I'm an old man, and my memory's not too good sometimes.
Oh, you're not that old. Not yet, anyway.
How about coming over tonight? I'm making my world-famous chicken gumbo.
Can I bring my husband?
Now, how are we gonna have any fun if you do that?
Oh, Mr. Jackson.
Anna, what are you doing?
I'm in the kitchen talking to Mr. Jackson.
Morning, Harry.
The name is Cornblatt, and I'll thank you, Mr. Jackson, to leave my wife alone.
Harry, please.
Now, look, Cornblatt, your wife and I were just...
I don't care what you were just. Anna, I'm going into the living room to read my paper, and I expect to see you there shortly. Thousands of apartments in the city, and I gotta live next door to Don Juan.
I'll never understand what you see in him.
For an old Jewish man, he's not so bad.
Anna! Harry, what happened?
Sir, we're taking your wife to Northern General. You want to go?
Yes.
Okay, around to the front.
Where is everybody? This is everybody. Harry! Are you over there? Harry! Harry! Queenie? If that man misses his Anna anything like I missed you, we gotta help him, Queenie. Queenie, we gotta help him. He'll sit right over there and drop dead from a heart attack. Harry! Now, I know you're over there, Harry, because ever so often I can hear your toilet flush. Harry! I hate to do this, Queenie, but I'm getting desperate. You boy! Hey, I'm talking to you! That did it.
What did you call me?
I called you Jew boy.
Schwartz is going to call me Jew boy.
Schwartz, you... Why don't you come over here and say that?
If I come over there, I'll punch you right in the nose.
Give me 2 minutes and I'll save you the trip.
Good. I'll be waiting.
thought this building had a working elevator.
It's on the brink. What's wrong? Can't take it, Mr. Big Shot, huh?
Look, Harry, I only wanted to talk.
Talk is cheap. Put up your dukes.
All right? You just ain't gonna listen, are you? Maybe a bop in the nose would be the best thing for you.
Come on, just try to bop me in the nose.
Look, Cornblatt.
What happened to Jew Boy?
I only called you that to get your attention.
Well, you got it.
Just wanted to see if you were all right.
You show concern by calling me names?
I've been calling you for weeks.
So? Maybe I don't want to talk. So, had enough, huh?
I think we both had enough.
I can't remember the last time I did this much exercise.
Yeah. Feels good in a bad sort of way.
Maybe next time you'll think twice before calling somebody Jew Boy.
What you been doing over here the last couple of weeks?
None of your goddamn business. Now get out of my house.
You been watching this thing? This stuff ain't gonna do you any good.
What the hell do you know?
Harry, I know what it's like to lose a wife. Hey, there's this little place around the corner that I go to every now and then for breakfast. How about you and me having breakfast tomorrow morning?
I don't eat breakfast.
Well, they got a great $1.99 special. All you can eat.
They probably got bugs.
My treat.
Well, maybe if I'm hungry. No guarantees, just maybe.
I'll be over at 7. $1.99 breakfast you ever had?
I'll let you know in an hour.
Oh, man, you just need some fresh air. Come on, let's sit down here. Just let it settle down a little bit. Beautiful morning. Harry, I'm real sorry about Anna.
Well, I've had enough fresh air. Goodbye.
Oh, come on, man. Just rest yourself. I know what you're going through. I've been through it. It'll be 8 years this December since I lost my Queenie. 8 years.
You lost your wife?
Yeah.
You miss her?
Of course I miss her.
A lot?
Yeah, a lot.
Every day, every hour, every minute?
Sometimes more.
You lead a great life, Jackson.
Well, what do you want me to say, Harry? What do you want me to do, lie? I loved my wife. But a part of that love is living with the pain of not having her. I don't think a day has gone by that I don't think about her.
Well, I'll leave you now so you can get on with your busy day.
Where are you going?
You got your day, I got mine.
But I thought we could spend the whole morning together. You know, kind of just do some talking. That's why I asked you out for breakfast.
Here's your $2.
I don't want your money.
Then what do you want?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Fine. Have a nice day.
Oh, son of a bitch.
You say something?
No, I didn't say anything. You go ahead. No.
Well, who are you talking to? The goddamn bench?
What do you care? You're such a busy man.
You're right. I don't care. I could care less. You got a problem, Jackson?
My only problem is that I tried to be nice to an old fool.
Well, who asked you, huh? Who asked you? You stick your nose into other people's business where it don't belong. Mind your own business. I didn't ask for your help.
I don't need anybody's help.
Hey, Silas.
Your sister around?
How come we ain't seen you in church lately?
Colonel!
You hear the boyfriend's here? You gonna go to hell, Silas?
Colonel!
I hope you'll take to heart what we talked about, Sister Myrtle. Silas, Hartwell.
What was that all about?
Preacher Harwell says you're going to hell, Silas. I don't want to.
Cora May, please.
What was Harwell talking about, Myrtle? Was he trying to fill your pretty little head with all that?
It's not just him, Silas. It's other things.
Like what kind of things?
Society of countries to join the International Whaling Commission, which have never whaled and will never... Wake up to the unleashed manic pop sound of Sunday cannons.
That's right. My God, I thought he died in that freak airplane crash in South America. Well, that's what he wants everyone to believe, but he's here. He's in Gloucester. Well, that's great. That's gonna throw a big fat monkey wrench in the middle of all of our plans. And everyone's got to know that we have the deed to the diamond mine. And then what are we going to tell Helen? Who's Helen?
Jackson. Hey, Jackson.
What do you want?
Well, I was making some chicken soup, but opened up a big can, you know, the size for two, and I make too much. Do you want some?
Are you inviting me over for dinner?
It's either give it to you or throw it out. Hey, wait, Jackson, wait. All right, yes, I'm inviting you over for dinner. Well, the soup's getting cold.
I'll be over in a couple of minutes. You want me to bring something?
No, I got bread, I got soup, just bring yourself.
Come in. Well, sit down.
I'll get the soup. Here, start. I got bread, I got matzah. Start.
Good soup.
Not as good as Anna's, though. Warm outside?
It's not too bad.
You play cards?
I've been known to.
Good. First we finish the meal. I'll clear away the dishes and then we play cards.
Oh, I can't tonight, Harry. I got a friend coming over.
So invite him over, we'll have a threesome. I've even got some of those little cheese crackers.
Well, it's a lady friend.
So?
Well, we sort of had a quiet evening planned.
Okay, we'll forget the crackers.
Harry, it's my girlfriend.
At your age?
Well, yeah. She's a very sexy lady, and I got my needs.
You're an old man. Old men don't talk like that.
Who's talking? I'm doing.
That's even worse. I don't want to talk about this.
You mean you and the missus didn't?
Hey. That's none of your business. What are you? Sex maniac?
Thanks for the soup, Harry. I've had enough.
There, anytime.
So what are you doing tomorrow morning?
You mean besides reading the paper?
Well, I help out at Sunday school at church. You know, watching some of the kids. I could use another pair of hands.
No, I don't think so. I'm not good with kids. I never even had one of my own.
Then how do you know?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, it was just an idea. See you around.
See ya.
One cut of the cards. And if I win, you'll help me with the kids tomorrow.
And if I win?
If you win, then me and my lady friend will come over and play cards. All night.
It's a deal.
I'll be over about 8.
Hey, Jackson! Does your lady friend know you go to Sunday school?
She ought to. She's the Sunday school teacher. We'll be glad I brought you over. I think we'll really be glad. Kids are everywhere having a good time. Some of the artwork that they do. You know, I love coming over here. It's sort of like therapy. It really does wonders. I just enjoy being here.
Get the wagons in a circle, honey. They're on the warpath.
Greta, this is Harry.
Oh, I'm so pleased to meet you. Sonny's told me a lot about you.
Had time to talk? What with the kid under the table?
Oh, that's our little cave dweller. He's new here. Broken home, alcoholic father, you know.
Excuse me, Miss Greta. The kids are getting kind of hungry.
All right, honey, I'll get the milk and cookies. Harry, how would you like to help me in the kitchen?
No, honey, I'll help you with... we'll leave Harry here to watch the kids.
Oh, Sonny, I don't think...
Oh, no, Harry will be fine, won't you, Harry?
Of course you will. All right now, you think so. Hey, Sonny, don't you know where we are?
Sex maniac. What are you supposed to be, a bat? People who live in caves have lousy complexions. You, anyone home? UPS, man. Hey, Harry Cornblatt, you got a great way with kids.
that? Over here.
Oh my God, Harry, you're hearing voices.
It's me.
Me who?
Me under the table.
You mean the bat?
I'm not a bat.
You're not?
No.
Oh.
What's that?
Why don't you come out and take a look?
It's a top. Big deal.
Wrong. Shows how much you know, Mr. Smart Guy. It's a dreidel.
What's a dreidel? Looks like a top to me.
It's a Jewish top, okay? Wanna try?
It spins good.
It spins well.
Can I have it?
No,
Why not?
because it's mine. It's special. I made it myself.
You made it?
Yeah. My father helped me. He had a workshop. Let's see, it must be 60 years ago. I was your age.
I don't believe you.
Oh, it's true.
Why?
Why what?
Why would your father help you make it?
Because he loved me.
Well, then why didn't he make it for you?
Because he wanted me to learn how to make it myself. Look, I could give this to you, but I won't. That would be too easy. How about if I show you how to make one of your own sometime, huh?
You won't come back here.
I don't come back. You keep mine.
Really?
Yeah, really. But don't go putting your name on it yet.
We might just go see us a movie.
Okay.
Something like that.
I don't believe it.
I do.
Oh my God.
Harry, I think I'm gonna go on home from here. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
See you later, here.
Hey, Jackson.
Huh?
Thank you.
What for?
Nothing, just thanks.
How about breakfast in the morning?
Yeah, on me.
All right. See you in the morning, Harry.
Jackson, you up yet? I don't know about you, but I'm starving. When are we going out to breakfast, huh? Hey, Jackson, you going to sleep almost? Sonny? Where in the hell were you?
What do you mean?
I called from you across the alley. You didn't answer.
I was in the bathroom.
There was a cop in your kitchen.
He had to use the telephone. Mrs. Wharton didn't own one.
Who in the hell is Mrs. Wharton?
That's Mrs. Wharton. She died this morning. She was 102. What the hell's the matter with you? You thought that was me? You thought I was dead.
What the hell are you smiling about?
You thought I was dead, and you were sad, and you were gonna miss me.
Like a cancer, I was going to miss you.
Oh, go ahead, Harry. Admit it. You were gonna miss me. Admit it. Admit it.
Are we going out to breakfast or aren't we going out to breakfast?
Yeah, Harry. I'm hungry. I'm real hungry.
Then let's shut up and go eat.
You know what this means, Harry? We're buddies. Oh my God.
"35 miles from Reykjavik, Iceland, nestled at the end of a fjord, sits a prime example of a dying industry, the Gwalar Limited Whaling Station. Founded in 1947, when whaling was still a viable industry, the company has in recent years fallen prey to rising fuel prices and changing environmental attitudes. With the recent decision by the International Whaling Commission to enforce a 1986 zero quota on all commercial whaling, it appears that the company's days are numbered. The decision by the IWC would encompass both limited land-based operations, such as this station, and factory ship operations such as both the Russians and Japanese employ. The discrepancy, at least to the Icelanders, is the fact that while the Japanese and Russians account for the majority of whales caught each year, the Icelandic station accounts for approximately 1.6% of that number, or an average of 165 animals out of 10,000. Irregardless of the IWC mandate, both the Russians and the Japanese intend to continue their operations. Iceland, however, does not have the political power necessary to ignore such a mandate, and considering itself a member in good standing with the Commission, intends to stop whaling. Undaunted, however, by the IWC decision, and continuing pressure from protectionist organizations like Greenpeace, the station continues to operate, hoping that the Icelandic government will file a formal protest. General Manager of the company, Kristján Loftsson.
As the whaling issue has become such a political issue, the anti-whaling industrialists, as I term them, they have managed to get a variety of countries to join the International Whaling Commission, which have never whaled and will never whale and will never contribute anything to whale research. So today we have 39 countries as members of the International Whaling Commission. Of those, 6 or 7 are whaling, actually. The latest countries joining the IWC are even landlocked countries like Switzerland. And so this whole IWC today is coming like a big circus.
Though attitudes towards the whaling industry have changed in the past 35 years, the operations of the Hvalfjordur station have remained virtually the same. An important link, for instance, between the base and catcher boats, the radio operator maintains contact throughout the day, plotting the location of each boat and keeping track of their catch status. The equipment he uses is modern, but the procedure itself has been handed down from operator to operator since the station's beginning. With the news that a catcher is making its way up the fjord, the station goes into action. The men who work on the cutting deck board a bus, which takes them from their living quarters to the plant about a quarter of a mile up the road. Because the station has such a short catch season, approximately 3.5 months during the summer, most of the men are part-time workers, a mix of high school and college students, lucky enough to find summer employment. Once again, General Manager of the station, Kristján Loftsson.
It's a customary practice in Iceland that students work during their summer holiday. My first job here was a mess boy in 1956 on one of the catcher boats. And then after that I was a deckhand on the catcher boats for 4 seasons. Later on I worked with my father in the administration. And since I remember, so that's a typical Icelandic way of life, I would say.
Time is an important factor in the operations of the company. With the whaling grounds being over 100 nautical miles away from the station, the catcher boats must return with their catch within 20 to 22 hours, or risk having the whale spoil. Boat crews are paid according to the freshness of the meat. Thus, catcher crews will often come back with one whale rather than waste valuable time looking for another and risk spoiling both. With the docking of the boat, the responsibility is transferred to the men on the cutting deck, who must also race with time in the processing of the day's catch. From the stripping of the blubber, known as flensing, to the packing of the meat, the procedure is well organized, keeping in mind the time factor involved and the need for efficiency. The procedure of processing a whale, like the processing of other animals for human consumption, is also quite graphic, but no more so than other slaughter industries. whale biologist from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, Dr. Richard Lambertson.
As a veterinarian, I am trained to deal with animals as a food source. And what we have here is an activity which is primarily involved with hunting food, taking whales for food purposes. That, in its own right, doesn't seem much different, if not more humane, than what goes on in the typical food-producing industry in the United States or other countries where animals are housed in large numbers in confined quarters and then slaughtered for food. To me, it seems that that type of living condition is one that imposes on the animal just as the actual event of killing an animal at sea imposes on the animal in the whaling industry. It is perhaps even more humane to allow an animal to remain at large in its natural environment for its entire life and simply to harvest it at the end of that life rather than confine it the way the beef industry does, for example.
Lambertson is only one of several whale biologists and researchers who have spent the past few summers at the station. Being allowed to live with the whalers for the better part of the catch season provides a unique opportunity for research. Being scientist also gives the biologist an interesting perspective on whaling. Whale biologist from the University of Guelph, Dr. Bradley Hicks.
In an agriculture or a fishery sense, the harvesting of a wild species is basically what whaling is. It's the same as the harvest of fish from the ocean, for instance. They are, or crabs or clams or anything else. Basically, they're creatures which are living and growing in the ocean, and man as a consumer harvests them as a food source. Harvesting of whales in the agricultural sense should be treated as an agricultural or fisheries industry, which means that the return on the investment has to be a reasonable one, that fish quotas have to be reasonable and rational, that fish quotas aren't zero simply because fish are lovable or make sweet noises or happen to live in large families called schools and you don't want to disrupt this large family. People would roll over laughing if you decided to stop fishing because you were breaking up the family system in the fishery. Yet somehow whales escape this rational approach, you know. It is a viable industry. There are good markets for whale products. It's not a big chunk of the Icelandic economy, I'm sure, but it may be quite a significant one nonetheless. Plus, the people who work here, I think, enjoy their work. The owners of the company enjoy a reasonable profit. And there is sort of a aboriginal sense to rights to the whaling in Iceland. After all, the people who are here now were the first people in Iceland, and their laws have regulated whaling since the beginning of time, so to speak, at least in Icelandic years. And I think that the whaling in Iceland should continue. I don't think there's any biologic reason to stop it. The logistics of the fishery here suggest that they can't possibly take enough whales to make a dent in the population.
Whaling is a complex issue at best, complicated by emotional public opinion and conflicting scientific data. The issue itself often gets lost in a sea of propaganda. Much of the controversy, at least in the scientific community, revolves around the accuracy of population studies in determining whale herd sizes. This question of whale population is a frustrating one because of the difficulty in gathering information needed to determine stock sizes. Icelandic whale biologists for the past 10 years have been monitoring and analyzing the catch records of the Gwalar Company in an effort to determine how this particular station has affected the fin whale population off the west coast of Iceland. Icelandic whale biologist from the Marine Research Institute, Johan Sigurd Jonsson.
The work done here in Hvalfjörður by the Marine Research Institute is mainly aimed for collecting biological information on the exploited whale species, which will be important in monitoring the state of the stocks for successful management. This work is carried out along with other kinds of studies aimed for stock management as well. During the past 35 years, the Icelandic government has only allowed one land station to operate in the waters around Iceland. The limited number of catches can only take a limited number of whales per year. The fixed location of the station does restrict the operational area of the fleet. The fishery is regulated by catch quotas set by the International Whaling Commission. The quota is usually set as the average catch during the past 20 years. This has in fact been the case in Iceland, and we see here on the figure the relationship between catch per searching hour, which is a measure of catch per unit of effort, where the same 4 vessels have been operating. During the period 1962 to 1981, we observe yearly fluctuations which probably result from varying environmental conditions, but evidently no drastic changes of the stock size have occurred. The scientific committee has always unanimously classified this stock as a stock which can be exploited. So from that point of view, this whaling can be continued, although maybe at some lower level than in the past.
Limited or not, whaling does go on, and at the Icelandic station, it's business as usual. The processing of a whale involves many steps, each step an organized and efficient procedure designed to utilize as much of the whale with as little waste as possible. The first step is known as flensing. Flensing is the stripping of a whale's blubber, and is perhaps the one true constant or link that modern whaling has with its past. Though whaling vessels may be faster, processing equipment more modern, the flensing of a whale, at least at the Gwalar station, is still done by hand. It is an acquired skill which automation has yet to replace. By using a series of winches and pulleys, the blubber is pulled back and removed in long, evenly cut strips. These strips are then cut into blocks which are frozen and packaged for human consumption, or boiled down to extract valuable oil contained within. In the days of New England whaling, the extraction of whale oil was the key product, the prime motivation for the hunt. Very little else of the whale was used, and there was a great deal of waste. Today, the byproducts which come out of whaling are numerous, ranging from lubricating oils to cosmetics to animal feed. The first concern, however, for Gwalar Limited is meat production. This is why the catcher boats must return on time. This is why the processing methods must be efficient. For if the meat spoils, the company loses money. With the blubber removed, the flensers begin cutting the meat from the whale. The meat is then trimmed of excess fat or sinew before being sent down to the packing rooms located under the cutting deck. Most of the meat processed at the Icelandic station goes to Japan. A small portion of what is processed remains in Iceland, but the majority finds its way to the Japanese marketplace, where the demand for whale meat and byproducts is high. Considering this, it's not surprising then that many of the meat cutters who work in the packing rooms are Japanese. Their presence there is twofold. First, they serve as a quality control step, a sign of goodwill in a sense between the Japanese and the Icelanders. Second, like the Flensers, they are skilled cutters who do their job with speed and efficiency. Their importance to the company and to the packaging process is evident. The quicker they can cut and trim the meat, the faster it can be frozen. The faster it is frozen, the less chance it has of spoiling. The frozen blocks of meat are taken from their trays and trimmed of any excess. They are then sent through a final wash before being bagged and boxed. With the packaging of the meat, the race with time that started some 24 hours before and over 200 miles away in the North Atlantic ends. But the ethical and moral questions of whaling continue. Questions that may not have right or wrong answers. Questions that hold the existence of this station in the balance.
But it really boils down to the question of whether one is willing to play God, in a sense, in deciding that one animal for food production is more valuable as an individual than other animals. Then from the scientific perspective, there's a clear prerogative to maintain some level of whaling throughout the world, whether it's in Iceland or elsewhere, simply because there is essentially no other way to maintain access to great whales for scientific study. Much of what we've learned so far about great whales, essentially the vast majority of it, has come from whaling operations, from biologists associated with whaling, be it on the so-called pelagic whaling fleets, on the factory ships, or on coastal stations such as the one in Iceland. The one here is particularly conducive for scientific work because it is a coastal station. It's one which is slow enough in terms of the number of whales that are being taken, so that investigators have time to pull carcasses aside or things of interest and work on them as they need to. This is something that's not often possible on a factory ship. There is no good indication that the stock is being over-depleted, although I would have to say that I think the information is very incomplete at this point.
The first time there was set a quota by the International Whaling Commission on the catch here in Iceland was in 1976, then on the fin whale only, and then later on there came a quota on the sei whale and the sperm. And these quotas have been very similar to what the previous year's catches were, except now for the last years they've been cut down quite drastically due to political reasons. Iceland has been criticized for not knowing enough about the whales, and scientific knowledge is virtually nil, etc. And that's something we don't accept.
Well, I think the zero quota is a nonsense figure. It's basically a non-decision by the IWC. They have said nothing by saying zero quota. They simply are being extremely conservative. They have no facts with which to put zero quota on. The philosophy of zero quota is that we don't know, so we will say we won't take any animals. We don't know how many there are. We don't know the size of populations. We don't really know movement or migration of specific populations. We don't know recruitment numbers into a new population. So they've taken the ultra-conservative route and said they will simply have no whales being captured. So it's basically a very non-number, if you will. It's nonsensical. It means nothing, except to the whaling nations who will lose an occupation.
Considering the question of a zero quota, the resolution which was passed this year in the IWC by less than unanimous vote, this is a resolution which has been put forth in the IWC for nearly 10 years on a yearly basis and passed for the first time this year with a great deal of debate and controversy. It's one that puts the Icelanders in a predicament in that the entire operation here is more or less slated for extinction come 1986. Certainly, if these stocks are truly threatened or severely endangered, this is something that is warranted. I'd hasten to say that the information at this point does not exist to support such a claim. We need much more information on the population status. We need more information on the mortality factors, many of the parameters that are used in the mathematical models employed for judging stock size and condition simply are guessed. They're estimates pulled from reasonable values for other species or even out of thin air.
The oceans are still fairly productive, probably very productive, and whales are simply part of that production. So in a biological sense, I think whaling should have a future. In a fishery sense, whaling should have a future. In a political sense, I don't know.
And in that unlikely event that whaling will be stopped, as far as this particular operation is concerned, of course this whole thing would close down and there wouldn't be any activity, and all these facilities would just rot down, and boats will be sold for scrap, etc. And the net gain in that will be that it will create it will create unemployment in this country, and that will be the net result.
The debate over whaling will probably continue long after the business itself has ended. For some, the moral and ethical questions will continue, but for many, the answer is already at hand. Whaling is an industry with no commercial future. It is scientifically unclear and politically unpopular. And so the question that remains for the Gwalar station, and others like it, is not so much if, but when.